I've recently tried to convince myself very often that I'm on the right track, and it felt like that. And I don't think I'm not on the right track no more. It's just like that sometimes the moments of realization are those that give you like a reality hit. And I got those quite sometimes lately. And when the overall situation and how I'm feeling is tending into a direction where I'm getting more critical in a negative way about the things I'm doing, then things easily tend to get into the direction on which I start to like question it in such an extent, all the actions, all the things I've done, that no matter how deep I'm in it already, no matter how much I've brought further, it feels like I've actually done nothing. And it's not that bad that there's just nothing there no more I can hold on to, but it's feeling like that I've been going into the wrong direction, as there might be things already visible before, but I just wasn't able to perceive these things. And that's like a thing that just drives me up so hard, because I don't want to lose out on details that might be important for the growth I'm making, the process I'm doing, but I also know that it's a part of how far and how good I'll be able to move into a direction on which I'm getting all this experience. And the best or like most impactful experience mostly gets made out of the biggest changes you make, or the biggest hits you take, and the later on coming persistence through them. And so it's an inevitable thing to just face these overall struggles, but still I'm trying so hard sometimes to just think in patterns that make it easier to not get into these states where I might not be able to see the things that are so important for myself to just glimpse. Because I just don't wanna lose on potential growth. And whenever I'm so full on something, or I've never been in that regard before, not in that extent that I'm getting back to something every day for months and persist to it. I've never experienced something like that. So it's also okay to just take these new experiences as something where I can find my way into it, and that I'm allowed to just make these mistakes now, as it's new territory and I haven't made much experience in that, and I gotta test it out for whatever kind of things are going to face me in it, and I'm going to take things from it. As long as I'm not stopping this process of trying to understand what I'm doing and what I could adjust on the craft I'm making and the things I want to change or invent, then I'm taking something from it. And whenever I'm taking something from it, even if it's from a hit I'll be taking, because I'm seeing that there's a flaw, there's a missing gap I haven't calculated yet, it shall not be something I get down of. It shall not be a thing that drives me nuts and makes me feel like it was for nothing. And usually it's not impacting me in such an extent because there's some resistance and resilience, and the overall optimistic thought processes are just too deeply routed that there's not much that gets me out of that control to handle how I'm feeling with whatever I'm doing. But once there just stack up some things, like having bad sleep for a very long time, not finding out what to do, still feeling that energy loss, then having some sensitive times where you just feel that there can be little things that just change around the overall thought structures so easily, and emotional states, that when these things add up, it just gets harder to stay on that optimistic lane that's coming with calmness. But it's even more important to come up with then, because there just isn't any reason why not to come up with it, even when I'm feeling down, because I should know that I'm doing much for a change I want to make, not only for myself but for others. I want to make an impact on how people are able to make connections, and I just have to make all this experience and get ahead of it, because that whole story of and path life of mine is just something that's just going to be built by all the experiences I'm making along that way. And as mentioned, I think the most impactful and fundamental insights of life are gonna come out of the times that actually felt so distant, the times that where you've seemed like not being able to handle it all no more. Because whenever these stages are passed by and already being distanced so fast as time and progress just flows by like nothing, I think the shields we build through these times are massive. So it's mostly just about immersing oneself in the problem, in the state of mind that's currently setting up all these feelings, all these thoughts that seem so energyless and not full of a drive and a motivation to come up with something in oneself. But it's good. It's also good to just have these days, these times, even though they might crush you down, they're gonna pass. These times gonna pass. These feelings gonna evaporate into something so much bigger once we just start to understand what made this whole situation like that, what was an impact for that, and how can I settle myself again now, what is important now to get further ahead, what can I do now to make little change within this shithole I'm feeling like I'm in, but actually I ain't, because it's just my mind telling me that I'm in this certain situation now, being stuck, feeling like there's no way out, but when there actually is, by just immersing in it, like a deep dive into these cold waters of our existence and this emotional constitution of things. And whenever I try to get onto that track, I'm feeling better afterwards, because I see I'm coming up with the effort. When I come up with the effort of just trying to understand what is wrong now, what I could do to adjust these things and flip the whole situation into a way where I can understand that it's just experience, it's a feeling I'm having now, because there's something happening in myself that is telling me something, and when it's not clear yet, then I can question myself what the background of this thing might be now. What is the reason why I'm feeling like that now? And when it's the reason that I just haven't fall back into old patterns, or I'm not feeling good now, or there's an external reason that just made this realization clear that something specific is not working out, and you've been going into onto a road that has an end on one side, then yeah, it's also okay. It's also fine. It can just be like that, and it should be, because only through these experiences you're gonna make the change anyway. What would we be when we just would go onto a path and not being stopped down and not being dragged into the direction where there's some obstacles along the way, where they're harder to approach paths and rocks to climb and other difficulties along our way? How would life feel and be when every step we make would be an easy one to take? So I don't think it's part of actual growth to have it easy. I think it's such an immensely big part to have these times where you just feel so down and don't understand anything about what is going on here no more. That's so fine. It's alright. Let's just let it be like that. But not just take it as it is. Do not try to distance yourself from these impacts, these feelings. They're your opportunity, and you're standing in front of these two paths. Either you face these difficulties when you think you can take it, and do not forget, you mostly think you can't when you actually could, but you're not feeling right or good enough to actually just try it. But doing it anyway in small steps will help to face these things. And when you're not facing them and just numbing them off, distancing yourself, they won't be passed. It's your way to go. These are your obstacles you got in your way, and they determine how far you can get. And when you never pass by them and just try to avoid them and staying at your place in your bubble, then they won't ever change and get removed out of your life all of a sudden. So this immersion of something that's so indescribably hard to take, that we always wish to be as far away as we possibly can, is when we actually understand that we can just immerse ourselves in these things as they are our obstacles along our way. We can find and take this perspective into a whole different kind of realm. Because when I'm thinking about something that's negative, when I'm thinking about an emotion, a feeling that's dragging me down, I might be thinking about something I don't want to face or I want to avoid. And this amount of avoidance we try to come up with, and the amount of avoidance we apply onto ourselves whenever we are being exposed to these negative feelings, is just a sign of degrowth, of a certain danger we just don't feel being grown yet. And that can be okay as well, for sure. But to understand that the best thing to outgrow this whole thing and pass by it through the immersion in it is just such a fundamental thing to go through my days these times when I'm not feeling good, because how shall I pass by these obstacles I'm facing when there's nothing in myself that's actually being like clear with that thing, being in one with the negative, with the thing that's not feeling good. When I'm not in one with these downtimes, how should I get up to the high points anyway? It's about these understandings of these lows and the actual solutions we come up with in these times that make up such a big part in what we are going to be able to grow towards. So let's just let's just take this. Let's just hold on to that. And I'm gonna take this reminder with myself now as well, because I haven't been feeling good the last few days, and this makes me feel differently now, because I'm actually happy I've been able to see these aspects of life that were showing me where I'm standing, and which might still show me where I am. But I can only face them by trying to understand more about who I am and how I'm living and what is a part of how I'm feeling and what is not, and to understand what is a part of it, how I'm feeling now. Every little part we can take from this conclusion of seeing what might be a reason of a negative thought process is one step you're taking into the right direction. And even if not all of those feelings are being processed and solved, every little thing you start to understand is one thing you can be happy about to some extent, and it's actually a relief when seeing it as something that can be and actually is of value for you, because you've made progress, and this progress is good. It's great that you've seen that you can adjust one thing, and it might just gonna make a little change, but this little change is enough for now. Take this realization as something that's good for you, and it's gonna help you with all the other things when it's being seen as something important. It's one part of many. It's one step into the right direction. So let's stay close to this. Let's try to stay on track, okay? I had a very hard time just getting here and even finding something I want to talk about, because I haven't felt like I'm actually able to do this now. But I felt good doing it now, and certainly feel good now as well. Now I'm gonna let this sink in now. So can you. So, as some people also some pictures back there, because it's looking so beautiful, I thought, why not just show you the place again. It's a beautiful sunset. Wow. These clouds, they're looking massive. How they are being lightened on the side here. Wow. So much power coming from that one source back there. It's crazy. It's beautiful. It's always good getting out there again, doing these videos. Because otherwise I'm not having too much time out there. Mostly spending time inside or going for a run but it's not that part of enjoyment. Sure, it is as well, because it comes with many good things as well, to just go for an insanely exhaustive run, in a positive way for sure. But it's differently than being out here. Here is just talking, it's a different kind of world. So yeah, wish you all the best and see you very soon. Bye bye.